Hello, happy Thursday, and welcome to SJU. Our engineer Jonathan started off our show by saying there will be poops, and we guarantee you one thing here. This is a Screen Junkies threat. There will be poops. Spencer Gilbert.
Yep. Went before the show, so it won't be for me, but we'll do our best.
You feeling pretty regular, Joe Starr?
Learned my lesson from yesterday where I held it throughout our Snyder Cut announcement, so I'm ready to go.
That probably explains a lot of the enthused and kinetic.
The strain.
There's a little bit of it, yeah.
It is really exciting. We're going to talk about Batman things. Danielle, you weren't there yesterday, so we're going to get into what it means to be a Bat person in cinema in a minute. But how do you feel about the HBO Max announcement?
Well, great. People got the movie that they want to see. I'm really excited for them that you get to see the thing that you wanted to see. I hope it lives up to every single one of your expectations. I don't think anything can, but I hope that it does for you guys. And I'm happy that you got the thing. Please stop sending me messages about how you want to punch my coworkers.
Oh, that's wait, what? Huh?
We'll talk later.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
That's no good. Please don't do that.
Please don't do that.
We're in a global pandemic. My God, don't.
Although there is something adorable about someone on Twitter who would DM you and say, I want to punch you.
Yeah, say that to me, not Danielle.
Yeah. I'm so mad I could punch you.
Would you tell Spencer I want to punch him?
No,
that's like
I tell Danielle that all the time.
Don't say that to anyone.
It's obviously not. Yeah, it's obviously not anyone. It's just the people that are in my mentions threatening to punch people. You know, that's usually the subject they want to punch people about. But obviously, it's not everyone.
Okay. Well, hey guys, we're going to talk about Bat people right now, and it's going to be really, really fun. But we'll start with a very quick PSA. Be a human being. We're in a global pandemic. We probably are all having a lot of problems right now that we're not going to talk about on the show because this is our happy space of 30 minutes. But we're humans that have lives and pain and suffering. Batman!
Just like Batman.
Actually a great segue. Darkness, no more Batman. Great. Let's talk about Batman for a little bit. I'll talk about, I'm with you. I'm really, really excited for the folks that were, because if I was anticipating anything that much, like I would be super psyched if it happened.
I remember the brown coats. Like I remember that. All the people that would show up with like banners and stuff, like bring back Firefly and like, yeah, it was a huge thing. God, what was it? There was one where people were like mailing pennies somewhere. Like these big fan things that happen. It's great. Like you guys, you get the thing that you want to see. Like that's exciting.
And I will say that we had talked about this on SJU many, 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 many moons ago when HBO Max was announced, that this may be a marketing tool employed to drive subscribers to some degree, that they would release some version of the Snyder Cut, which it sounds like that is happening. I would caution too that anything that we anticipate and fantasize so much about in reality almost never lives up to our fantasies. Like we've all lost our virginities. You know what I mean?
It was magical, Roth.
Oh.
Magical as seeing this movie, all 4 hours of it will be.
I think it's funny how
just like all 4 hours of losing my virginity.
Yeah, yep.
Stop and start. And much like mine, it was cut into 6 different interactions that will be spread over several months to keep me paying for HBO Max.
Yeah, just like mine, I paid for it, so.
Well, people threatened to punch my coworkers.
Or they just threatened to punch you. Like you went straight for a really weird. Okay, anyway.
That is funny that they're going to do it episodic so that you don't just pay for 1 month, is my prediction. That's why they're cutting it up, is so that they can dole it out to you like you're on the H, and they just need to string you along for a few months.
They're going to dole out that B.
Yeah, and at the very end, they'll give you the full uncut, and you'll OD on that ZSC.
That's actually probably true. That's a really clever marketing tool. I mean, I am curious. Are you guys? I mean, like, I feel the same kind of like release the mutants now at this point. I just need to know. No, is it just me that needs?
We're all gonna watch whatever form it's in, and we're all gonna talk about it for exactly one weekend, just like we do with any of like the streaming things. Like that's not a knock on this. There's always like that weekend where a streaming thing comes out. It's all anyone on the internet is talking about. We did it with Bird Box. Like that's what we do. And then we're if they release it all at once. Now, if they do it thing by thing, it'll probably be a little bit more it'll have more lasting traffic throughout the month or whatever. But if they release it all at once, we're going to talk about it for a weekend.
No, we're going to milk this thing dry, Danielle. We're going to be like Luke Skywalker at the teat. It'll be
give me that blue milk
everywhere.
It's going to be like
for months.
We got no movie news, man. We're going to talk about that thing. We're going to find every angle. We're going to be comparing it to The Shining. We're going to basically make the Room 23 of the Snyder Cut.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to look for the hidden alien messages. Yeah. Oh, no. Prepare yourself. Have opinions.
Prepare your takes.
Oh, yeah. Most of all, Ryan mentioned this yesterday. Most of all, I'm now here to just be very excited for, what's his name? The kid that's playing Cyborg. Because that was supposed to be his big break.
Oh, yeah.
Not his big break.
Ray Fisher.
Yeah, thank you. And now
Good for him, man. That's great.
Gets a redo on his big break. That's great.
Yeah.
That's some happy news.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
Maybe he'll get to do more than brood in a hoodie in a corner.
But it's basically like this is a new thing. This is right. This is like him getting to sort of remake that movie, right?
Yep.
Maybe it'll be great.
We'll see.
Yeah, movie that he finished that only needs about $30,000 or $40,000 more dollars put into it.
Million.
Oh, million. Sorry, yeah. My snark overtook my words.
Yeah, I do. As we talk about this more, I've got at least one or two theories about that. But I wonder if it is one of those things where I know they've been talking about it for a minute. But especially now that this has happened, the money has freed up because they're not doing production for a lot of the stuff that was probably supposed to start coming out next year. And so it's like, okay, well, why not like do this thing that we know?
Oh, that's the only reason it's happening. Yeah. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but yeah, that's the only reason that this is happening is because everyone's desperate for content. Like that's why Swamp Thing and all these other shows that got canceled are suddenly being shown on the CW and stuff. Everyone's very desperate.
Yeah, people are desperate for content, but I don't know, Joe. I think that maybe it wouldn't have been funded quite this way. And I think that you're right because other things have been halted or pushed back. That opened up some amount of dollars to pursue this in this way. But
I'm
I think
sure the conversation was happening, but like this.
Yeah, like a version of it, I really believe was going to happen for HBO Max as a part of their marketing. Because it just generates so much interest. And I mean, how that actually translates to subscribers in the mass market, I'm not sure. But certainly the Bat nerds are being motivated. Let's talk about what it takes to embrace your inner Bat. Apparently, according to segment 1, it sucks to be a Batman, even though I think we've all dreamed of being a Batman all of our lives, or Bat person. So Affleck and Pat Bat debate reignited after this announcement yesterday. The Chronicles of Affleckia continue because, look, I loved him as Batman. I love him as a director and as an actor, but certainly there was a lot of back and forth about his role. So when this was announced, the question became, will he or won't he return, which has been the question for the last 2 years, really, until the announcement of the Batman. So question for you guys, with this new announcement, does that reignite his passion to play the Bat? Or is he going to return in some fashion? Like clearly we're going to see aspects of that film that we didn't see before, but does this degrade the messaging around the Batman and Pattinson?
I don't know, man. All bets are off now, right? Like it seems like I feel like if they want him to come back for this, and there are things that they specifically want him to do for this, they can make a compelling enough argument to get him back. I can't predict what's going to happen. Everything is super unpredictable right now. So it's weird because it's like, I don't even want to speculate because there was part of it where obviously it seemed like he was not super happy about being in that role, but that also changes when you have so many people online who are like, we are fighting for you. And if you post something and about the Batman and you're going to get 20,000 people being like, yes, you're my Batman, you're the dude, I'm really excited for it. Maybe that changes your mind. Also, another thing that's really good at changing people's minds is money. Money is so good at changing minds.
It is.
And also,
go ahead.
Sorry, Roth. Oh, I was just gonna say that the sources say it seems like the Robert Pattinson Batman is going to be kind of an earlier Batman story. And continuity doesn't matter. There's multiple Jokers coming out of Warner Brothers. You can have multiple Batmen working at the same time. I think you can trust us to. Batman is like a piece of folklore at this point. Like everybody knows him. You don't need to reintroduce him. We're used to multiple people telling a story different ways. Like just put out any Batman movie starring any Bat person and you won't need to hold our hands with it. Be like, that's a different actor. Like we'll be fine.
Joe, I think one of the premise that you were proposing for today is that it's like a really hard job in a lot of ways. I mean, we were just sort of joking around about getting threatened to be punched or murdered over even talking about these comic book movies. And that can feel really taxing, in all honesty. Like it just really can wear on you.
Yeah.
Like people literally want to do you physical harm. But imagine taking on the cowl and the reaction people had. It seemed to get to Ben Affleck a little bit.
Now, it's kind of funny because I think out the gate, everyone was like, Ben Affleck, really? And then like, pretty much every other Batman, he did a very good job, and we were like, yay. But at that point, you've done your press tour where everyone's going, Batfleck, and you've done this, you've done that. And plus the dude just had so much going on in his personal life. I just can't see, obviously he seems very happy that the Snyder Cut's coming out. He's retweeting it, he's supporting it, all that good stuff. But, again, I guess, like Danielle said, aside from like a giant pile of cash, which the dude doesn't necessarily need, I don't know, like, I can't, after going through that and then just being like, I'm done. I'm just very done with this, because it's not just the Zack Snyder stuff. It's the process he had to go through with his solo movie and that getting shelved and this and that. I can't see the guy wanting to like come back for anything more than maybe doing some pickups and ADR for Zack Snyder.
And he's a director, right? Also, so he may be supporting just the idea of a director having the opportunity to get his vision out there as well.
Mm-hmm. I'll add to this that look, human suffering is a bad thing,
right?
And yet it seems like mopey weirdos who have problems are a great fit for playing Batman. Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson, it's not necessarily like, oh, that makes you disqualified or wrong for the role, or it's like a chicken or the egg thing. Like maybe that's why they were chosen in the first place, because that character resonated with something in their soul, which is like, I'm kind of a recluse and I'm a little bit weird and sad, like Batman.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm questioning a lot of my affinity for the character at this point, and specifically for Catwoman.
Catwoman.
I love Catwoman.
Oh, sure.
Very drawn.
Well, the Pfeiffer's, I just always think Halle Berry. I'm sorry.
No,
it's so sad. That breaks my heart a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, it's interesting because Pattinson, I think, is getting a little taste of this Batlash, are we calling it?
Batlash.
So he's not getting all swole, as we talked about the other week. We even had some opinions about that. If we had resources, we would play back some things that we said, but let's just pretend to play back, and there were opinions. But this is sort of like he's now getting the taste for the fans have a take on what you should do to play this character. Do you think that's going to impact kind of like his journey as the Batman? Or did he just like, I don't care, I'm making
it's too late. They shot the movie, right? They're in the middle of it, actually. You're right.
Like he already had this experience with Twilight.
Yeah.
Did not respond well to it.
I don't know. I feel like I think that he learned how to deal with it his own way. And I think that doing things like trolling people and trolling the movie by saying, oh, they told me to work out, but I'm just like not going to do that. I think that that's how he gets through these kind of things. And I really think that he's got kind of a big movie to weird indie thing math happening where he's like, okay, I do this thing. And now for the next like 10 years, I can like rub myself all over Willem Dafoe and no one can say anything to me. And no one can say anything to me. Like that's what I get to do now for the next like decade. If I do this Batman stuff, then I get to go off and make my weird black and whites.
I mean, to be fair, he wasn't so much rubbing himself on Willem Dafoe as shielding himself from Willem Dafoe's.
Uh-oh.
We lost
Roth. Perfect timing. The passionate embrace of Willem Dafoe.
No, you're host now.
Yeah, I'll take over. The longer we leave that image up of Roth, the angrier she'll be. So let's cut it out.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
leave it up.
The cat so we keep our jobs.
All right, who wants the host now?
Let it be said, I fought the good fight for Roth there. So let's talk a little bit about the RPAT, because now, sort of as we're leading into this new Batman thing, they pulled us back into the world of Zack Snyder
But sorry, Joe, to interrupt for 1 second. Have we even said the news of Ruby Rose leaving Batwoman? We're getting there. Okay, it's built up. Okay, sorry.
Slow burn, Spencer. Slow burn.
So I guess sort of the question to sort of wrap this chunk up is like, does sort of a return to the Snyderverse and this big story he wanted to tell and continue telling, like, get in the way then of like the Batman, just for marketing or fan perception or anything like that? Spencer, I know you sort of said no, we understand that there are different Batmen, but is there too much Batman in a year?
Like with the Snyder Cut and a new Batman movie in the same year?
Batman.
No. There is such a thing as too much Batman, but I think a re-release or a recut of a movie and a new original one we can take so much more Batman than that. I mean, is there even a Batman animated series happening right now? I doubt it.
Just Harley Quinn, I think.
The Harley Quinn one's going, but yeah, I don't.
And then the new Justice League. Look, it's like we were talking about the other day with reopening movie theaters. In 2 years, every movie is going to be Batman. So let's just get ready for it. All movies are Batman now, because those are the only movies that are going to make money. And so you're going to go to your I was going to say Cineplex Odeon. You're going to go to your AMC 16, and it's all going to be Robert Pattinson Batman. And then you're going to go to your AMC 32, and it's all going to be this other Batman. Every movie is Batman now. So let's
it's like this one's just a remake of Terms of Endearment, but they're all Batman.
They're all Batman.
Well, I also want to hear sort of what chat has to say and all that good stuff. So Ryan, if you wouldn't mind just dropping some chat stuff into our little scripty do like we do, we'll hear from you guys a little bit. I wanted to pause and then we'll get to a little bit more Batman stuff. Just wanted to pause to say thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like button for us. We appreciate it. Hit the bell, like, subscribe. Again, thank you guys for being here. You're the reason we get to do this very, very stupid show and talk about Batman. What do we got going on? We got some things going on. I'm going to scroll through the script and find them. Got them. Okay. We got.
Tell them about your review tomorrow.
Do what? Oh yeah. We got a list of things to talk about. We're doing a Hey Fandom with Greg Nicotero. I believe that's today. Is that today?
That's today. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I think so. I know we've got signups and RSVPs in the description. Those have been a blast. So make sure you guys hit the description in the video, follow that link, get signed up. They're basically like virtual Hall H's where you actually get to pop up and pop on camera and ask your questions. They're a lot of fun. They've been really, really cool. And they are in support of Direct Relief, an organization that's coordinating with public health authorities, nonprofit orgs, and businesses in the U.S., China, and globally.
It is not today. It got moved
to the 26th, yeah.
Yeah,
it's 26th.
It's Tuesday, May 28th.
Okay.
May 28th, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Check details for me. Sorry, just said Greg Nicotero, and Ryan and I are just doing our best, man. We're just two boys in a world with too many Batmen. Direct Relief provides PPE and essential medical items to healthcare workers responding to the coronavirus. Links in the description. Donate if you can. If you can't donate, then please share, tweet, tell it to your family on Facebook that they should support Direct Relief, all that good stuff. And then we've got a new recommendation video out called After You Watch Rise of Skywalker, Watch This. And we've got some really fun recommendations for you to check out there. But back to the Batmans, because we got some Batmans to talk about. Spencer, you said something really interesting to me about, there's multiple Batmans and we get it. And Val Kilmer, who also played Batman, had a quote. He talked to The Hollywood Reporter in 2017. I just thought this was really interesting because, he left after one outing. He didn't get along with Joel Schumacher. And also he's Val Kilmer and probably doesn't get along with many people. But he told a story about Warren Buffett and his kids visiting the set. Kilmer stayed in costume for the kids, but he said they had no interest in him, only the Batmobile and the gadgets. And Val Kilmer said, that's why it's so easy to have 5 or 6 Batmans. It's not about Batman. There is no I thought it was really
that speaks more to like a Joel Schumacher movie than I think the character of Batman. Like he was all about the accessories.
I don't know, because I feel like the R-Pats conversation really started to pick up when they dropped that muscle car picture. You know, it's the stuff, it's the toolings and trappings.
I do think there's a really good point about how it is about the tools and trappings, but I think that one of the things that we connect with, or at least me personally, when they do change Batman, is that because of how many different, just like any comic book, right? It's just no one gets made as much as Batman. Every writer that's come in has a different take on Batman. Some people are all about the action. Some people are all about, oh, what if he was going after Jack the Ripper? Some people are all about the detective. Some people really want to talk about them pearls and good for you. There are all kinds of different things that different people want to tackle when they do that. They want to talk about the Bat family. And so one of the great things is that when we get it's almost like when we get a new Doctor on Doctor Who, like we get a new Batman and like he is Bruce Wayne and pearls, but he's also the Batmobile looks different because it's a different Bruce Wayne. Either it's, it's the tumbler where it came from, something that he was doing for war stuff, or he has something that's very like sleek and kind of phallic. Like there are different kinds of, and each one speaks to a different Batman. And so for me, that's why I like the gadgets so much, because they are so different. And I feel like because a good Batman movie isn't really so much Bruce just telling you who he is and as much as you get to see it. And part of the way that you get to see into Bruce is like, well, what's his Batarang going to look like? Are his things designed for, is it designed for lethal force, or is it just like a fancy boomerang with smooth edges? Like these things are, did they have to redesign the seal so that they can trademark it? Can he move his neck? Like these are the important questions.
That's really interesting though, that the stuff sort of tells about the character. Scarlett MI in chat said she grew up on soaps. They just have to voice over and say blah 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 is now being played by blah blah blah, and you just kind of roll.
Yep. That's what they do when someone's sick in soap operas.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think everybody seems fine. Sean Johnson. Sean Johnson says, I think. Wow, I just had a stroke. Sean Johnson just said, I think having too many cinematic Batmans at the same time will cause some Batman fatigue. Yeah, possibly. I think if they're both theatrical releases, definitely. But I'm hoping that my concern was more like the punchier of the cut fans will just get very loud about Pattinson stealing further opportunities from Ben Affleck to further the vision or whatever.
I mean, we'll see. It's so much as a lot's riding on this movie as like any new iteration of a character will be, because like if it's great, everyone will shut up. I know not everyone will shut up. No one will ever shut up. But if it's great, then this will be this will be just another wave for fans to ride. Just like there's just this circle of life of like, you can't do Michael Keaton, he's Beetlejuice. You can't do Heath Ledger, he's like a joke, he's a teen guy. You can't do Robert Pattinson, he's the Twilight guy. Like, and then again and again and again, people get proved wrong. So, but again, the movie has to do its work and be great. And I hope it is.
Yeah, and in the same way that like we can have a Joker, we can have a Joaquin Phoenix playing Joker because it's so different than the other Jokers that we've seen on screen. The thing that appeals to me so much about this Pattinson Batman is it's really, from what they've been saying, it's really emphasizing the detective part, and I don't feel like we've gotten that as much. Obviously there's part of that in there with him putting stuff in the computer and bleep bloop bleep, but we don't get as much of the like, I'm sitting in the Batcave, I'm doing the detective work, and then sometimes I'm punching people, and we really get to see that in this movie, and that's what is exciting for me. And I think there's a difference between if there was more Ben Affleck doing Batman stuff at the same time that you had maybe a Christopher Nolan version of Batman, but if you're doing something where it's really about, I'm a detective who dresses weird, then that's a different movie for me.
Yeah, which even in general, I really am excited about the detective aspect they've been playing up, because even detective shows now are more just like, send it to the lab and scan it. And like, that's the extent of the detecting you get. So I am excited about that part. Let's talk about some other Batman drama, some Batwoman drama, to be specific. Ruby Rose has left the Batwoman show. This is Viva Variety and TV Line. So the surprising announcement was made this week that Ruby Rose will be leaving the lead role of Batwoman after only one season. Rose said, "I've made the very difficult decision not to return to Batwoman next season. This was not a decision I made lightly, as I have the utmost respect for the cast, crew, and everyone involved with the show in both Vancouver and Los Angeles. The show's not over. They're going to recast the role." A bunch of speculation started after the announcement. TV Line added further details, saying that the decision wasn't just fully on Rose. It wasn't 100% her decision. It was a breakup. She wasn't happy working on the show. And did that make her fun to work with? No. So everyone decided it would be in the best interest of the show. And for all concerned, if they parted ways, it just was not a good fit. So yeah, a lot of discussion around this. When you talk about sort of everything that goes into being announced as a Bat person, the backlash, like we've talked about for every big screen Batman. When Ruby Rose was cast as Batwoman, like it got loud. It got really, really loud. So her start in this role was not off to a great start. Think what you will about Ruby Rose. Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys have any thoughts on this one?
Okay, so this is interesting for a bunch of reasons. So yeah, first off, Ruby Rose has, and it's mentioned also in the article as well, this was her first full-time being in a series. And so for her to do that as a lead and a role that demands so much physically, that is kind of a lot to put on someone who has not done that before. Another thing that's really interesting is that this also comes in the wake of the CW announcing that they have pushed back their slate of new shows. All of the stuff that would be coming in the fall is now coming in in January. That was part of when we were mentioning before. Roth brought up that they are going to, they're going to be putting more shows that we've already seen. I think Joe, you mentioned specifically with Swamp Thing and other stuff is going to be coming to the CW because they don't have anything to put in those slots right now, and everything's getting pushed back. And so that also means that what is going to wind up happening, and what I feel like what they're going to be retooling right now, is they do their annual crossover where everyone comes together in December, and those are the big thing for those CW DC shows. And they're huge. People watch them even if they don't, they're not caught up on everything happening, because you really can watch those alone in a capsule, and they're really exciting. And so it sounds like what's going to happen is that's what's going to be kind of what leads us into these seasons of the shows that are coming in. One of the big things that the president of CW said when he was doing that scheduling press conference was that one of the big discussions is that since they are bringing in the Superman and Lois new show with the guy from Teen Wolf, Tyler Hoechlin, I think it's pronounced, they are bringing in him, and they're going to have him and Lois have their own show. One of the big things that was discussed was that they might make it, the crossover was just going to be Batwoman and Superman and Lois, and that was what it was going to be. And so I will say that coming off of the heels of like Crisis and everything being brought together and whatever, if that is what they are doing, this is the perfect time to recast, because we've already, if you're going back to the crossovers are all about people from alternate dimensions, people from different places, yada, yada, yada. If you want to do it where this is a new Batwoman and a new Gotham with some of the same stuff, but it's not quite the same, you can do that now. Because it looked like it was already going to be, or it's going to be a lead-in for the Superman and Lois show. And so if you use that as a lead-in or a jumping off for that, and for establishing, hey, new Bat lady, different dimension, it's fine. You could do that now, and it would make
the same. Iron Man 2. Yeah, it's me, War Machine.
Yep.
We're on the same page. Okay, and moving on with their day. But yeah. I do think that's the best way to sort of intro for a new audience. And the show wasn't getting rave reviews. A lot of people are responding, in chat that they watched the first couple and tried, and it just didn't have a whole lot of interest. Spencer, I don't know if Ruby Rose does it for you or not.
Yeah. I didn't watch Batwoman, but I enjoyed her work in XXX3, Return of Xander Cage.
Yes.
And The Meg. And I imagine it's a lot easier and perhaps more fulfilling to just kind of pop up in films like that than to be crammed into a rubber suit all day, every day, having to memorize a lot of lines. She can do what she wants. So why not do what you like?
The thing that was almost more interesting to me in those articles were like how quickly the reporting brushed over the fact that she had a near fatal injury on the show.
Yep. Was going to bring that up.
It has nothing to do with her near fatal injury. And it's like, those stay with you. You know, like I left a job in San Francisco because I got jumped on the way to work and was like, I don't want to walk down that road anymore. I feel like there's probably a little PTSD involved and like unhappiness involved with returning to the scene of a near fatal accident on the daily for 9 to 11 hour days.
And herniated discs are not great. I think what did they say she had like several? I have
2 herniated discs.
2. Yeah, I have more, but it was different. But they're it's really not fun. And I can't imagine what it would be like to have to go back to such a physical set while also having to deal with rehabbing your back, because everything that's on you rests on your back. Like it's literally like everything that you have just like hangs off of it, and you need it for everything.
Backs are important.
They're pretty important. And so, yeah, I also thought that was really interesting for them to be like, well, she didn't want to be there and it was making everything bad. I don't know, man. Was she in pain a lot? Because not a lot of people are super pleasant while, being in a lot of pain and trying to deal with being on harnesses and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and plus, that's a tough. I don't know. I'm trying to look at people in show business less as cattle, I guess, these days, and like moving to Vancouver and working 11-hour days and getting hurt. Yeah, I think just everything, that was just a perfect storm of bad for that whole show. So hopefully they're able to recast and move forward. And
I also like, I have a knee-jerk reaction anytime someone who no longer is on a project, who specifically is a woman, is immediately like, she was difficult. Okay. Why was she difficult? Like, what is that? What does her being difficult means? Because like or she just didn't want to be there and it was obvious. It's like, well, you're obviously insinuating that she is a diva, and that brings us into that whole thing where like, a lot of guys get away with a lot of stuff on set that like a lot of women just don't do. I doubt that she was, sending weird stuff to her coworkers, but that's,
Okay. Wow, Danielle, you're raising your voice and getting really upset.
Sorry, I'm being so difficult. I'm being so difficult.
A little challenging to work with sometimes. But yeah, no, I think you make a good. I mean, just on our list of bat people, I'm sure that they have been nightmares at times. Bale is not
Christian Bale, very chill.
Yeah, very chill guy, and definitely does not get the same amount of issues. I think we've reached the end of our show, you guys. Let's not overstay our welcome too much. Spencer, the day that the Snyder Cut drops, what's your morning going to be like?
Well, probably crush a couple protein shakes. Probably do some weighted crushers. Then I'm gonna. I've been keeping an unopened case of. I believe it's the 2016 vintage of Rob Gronkowski branded Monster Energy drink. His limited Gronk flavor. So I'm probably gonna work my way through that until it drops, and I won't blink for the next 4 hours.
Hell yeah, that sounds like a day. Rads?
I was thinking about buying special Zubas for the occasion. I don't know that they're going to come on time, but I would like to have them just in case. I'm definitely 100% going to at least watch it with a lot of White Claw and just see what I think as I'm lounging in my Zubs, drinking my fancy seltzer.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I get my heart rate up with my Darren's
getting White Claw wasted.
Yeah,
White Claw wasted,
baby. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing my Darren's dance grooves to keep my heart rate up the whole time, so I can keep up with the excitement. It's gonna be a good day. But that day is a long way off. But you know what's not a long way off? Tomorrow, when Spencer and I will be reviewing A Man of Steel, because I apparently I don't value our friendship enough to not make you watch Man of Steel again, Spencer. But I'm excited to talk about it with you. I think we've lost him.
Yeah. Sorry for giving y'all the head fake earlier this week on MacGruber. We are not watching MacGruber. We're watching Man of Steel. Whoops.
Feels appropriate.
But also, it's gonna get it's gonna get real heady and real intense and real frothy, like a good Zack Snyder movie review should.
Oh yeah. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.